Someone said, I still don't understand why there is suffering in the world. This is one of the most challenging questions we all face in life. They can't wrap their head around the concept of God wanting to experience all things, when that includes the suffering of children, war, etc., seems like a cruel God.
It's a very important question to answer within yourself so that you can be at peace, because if you're not at peace, you're involved with your ego, and you're in the ego's world and looking at life from the ego's perspective. Read my book, All Grace, a book that you sit with for a few hours and immerse yourself in those words and in the energy, the transmission of the book, which you will feel. I really felt it through that book. And I love that book. So read that book, All Grace. That is the most convincing argument for why there's suffering. But of course, your ego doesn't understand it. From this perspective as a human, it's very hard to understand. That's why everyone asks the question. Of course, this is a horrible, horrifying world, but it's also a beautiful, wonderful, amazing, incredible world, which you realize the more you move out of the ego's perspective, the more you realize what a beautiful gift this life is. So that's what all these teachings are about. All of the books are trying to help you move out of the ego's perspective into the knowing of the truth about life, the truth that life is good, that there's benevolence behind life, that you willingly chose to come here as a soul. You were so excited to come here, to have the experiences you're having, because they are so unique and because you are an eternal being and you wanted to challenge yourself.
Because what you truly are is eternal and can't be harmed. It's just willing, willing and able to experience some suffering in service to the depth and richness and contrast that brings to life. We heard a person interviewed who, instead of just having past life memories, he had memories from before his first lifetime. And he describes that he was in this place, with all these other beings, and there was this one being that he couldn't wrap his mind around what was it that made this one being so special, so remarkable, the energy, the light, whatever it was that he experienced on that dimension that just attracted him to this one being. And so he went up to the being and said, I just got to ask you, how did you get like this? What's the secret formula that, has allowed you to become so amazingly, maybe the best word is alive, amazing, even though they weren't alive in a physical sense.
I think it was love that he was seeing.
Yeah, probably love, light, joy.
A kind of love, of
peace, all of those qualities to the max, And so he asked the guy, what's your secret? And the other being said, well, let me tell you about this place called Earth. Because that's where I was able to get to this place in my consciousness. Because it's such a challenging and difficult place, but the rewards are so amazing, so worth it. So, don't, and so it's funny, the story goes on from there. He decided, okay, I'm going to go check out this place called Earth. And it took him several tries incarnating because he found it so dense and so contracted that, partway through the process of being born, he would bail. He would just say, no, I can't do this, and he'd leave. And then finally he did it and, went on to get some of those same benefits that he saw in the other being.
So there are no victims here in life. No one who's alive is a victim. Every single being who is having every single experience that they're having chose to come here, chose to have those circumstances, chose to have the growth that could come from those circumstances. So to fall into victimhood is a huge trap, and it's one of the ego's favorite places to be. Oh, I'm such a victim. This is terrible. Ain't it awful? We're here to overcome that point of view, to tap into our courage, our patience, our strength, and to overcome that sense of victimhood or regret or hatred or whatever it is that is so, it belongs to the ego. We're here to develop those qualities of courage and patience and strength and kindness and compassion. And sometimes, well, pretty much compassion is only developed by walking in someone's shoes. So compassion is one of those things that we have to experience something very difficult to have compassion for that difficulty. That's just how it is here. And so our soul says, okay, I want to develop compassion this lifetime, and it'll choose a very difficult experience in order to do so, because it's necessary if someone wants to develop compassion. So it's just how it is here. And a lot of learning to be accepting of life is to see what reality is, to accept reality. And that's a lot of what these teachings are. It's about telling you, well, this is how it is. So don't argue with it. Get on with it. Find the good. Find the positive way to relate to it. Tap into your inner strengths and carry on as positively as best as you can. Draw on your good qualities. Get stronger and get more compassionate. And don't fall prey to the ego's negativity and its whining and its hatred and all of that. It's hard, but hey.
And the good news is that none of the traps are forever. Nothing in existence is permanent, except maybe consciousness itself, love itself.